Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another genealogy group chat. Today, David Bryant is going to give us some uh, introductory information to DNA. So, take it away, David.
Okay, thanks. Um, okay, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Like JP said, I'm David and I'm a librarian at Lexington Public Library, and I'm going to do kind of an intro to DNA testing. I'm going to start with some basics about testing and the basic kinds of tests, and then I'm just going to pull up the websites for the different testing companies, and we're going to kind of compare the layout and what you get with each company. And feel free to ask questions. Between all the people here, we probably can come up with an answer. So I will go ahead and get started.
And please put your questions in the chat, and then I will read them to David.
Okay, so like I said, the topic today will be DNA testing for genealogy. Just to get started, let's look at some of the reasons why people might want to use DNA testing. It's become really popular in the last several years, and I think it's just a lot of fun for people. So probably the main reason that people will do it is to either discover or confirm their ethnicity. We've all seen the commercial with the guy who discovers that he's German, so he starts wearing lederhosen. So um, I think that it's turned into something just almost like a fad that people are doing now. Certainly, if you have adoption questions, DNA testing, if you were looking for a parent or a sibling, if they've tested, that might open up an avenue for you to discover relatives. Also, if you have brick walls in your genealogy, if you've gotten to a point where you can't really get any more information or trace back any further, you may actually be able to use DNA testing to point you in another direction. And also, definitely for health information, there's lots of information you can find out related to health and conditions and carrier status and that sort of thing. There are some things to keep in mind when you're DNA testing. It will not give you your complete family tree. As much as we would like to take a test and then get an email that spits out your whole family tree, it just doesn't work that way. And I think sometimes people get a little disappointed with the actual amount of information in terms of what they were expecting. Also, definitely expect surprises in your results. I think there was a time when they would say, be prepared, you might get some surprises. I think now so many people have tested that you should just say, definitely expect surprises. Sometimes they might be pleasant surprises, like you thought you were German, but you're really Swedish, all the way to more shocking things like discovering a grandparent was not the grandparent. So you just need to go into it with your eyes open and just be ready for that. And also, this kind of goes along with what I said about it won't give you your complete family tree, but DNA testing should be looked at as a supplement to your document and records-based, more traditional research. So those are things to keep in mind. Okay. Now, I'm not a specialist in genetics, but I'm going to try to do a breakdown of the three main tests that people will purchase from the testing companies. So first and foremost is the autosomal DNA test. And the development and the easy availability of the autosomal testing is what really made genealogy testing really practical for people. And autosomal looks at DNA you inherit from all of your ancestors. Um, autosomal DNA tests your male and female lines by analyzing the first 22 chromosomes that aren't related to gender. And it will provide an ethnicity estimate and family matches. Then moving on, you can also, from some companies, you can purchase mitochondrial DNA testing. And mitochondrial DNA tests the DNA that both males and females inherit from their mother, the mitochondrial DNA. It's passed down through the mother to both male and female children. It can trace the maternal line back thousands of years. And it's also good at determining if your line comes from a specific region or ethnicity. And then finally, Y-DNA tests. Now, Y-DNA tests the DNA that only males get from their father because they have the Y chromosome. It also can trace back thousands of years and can be good for tracing to a specific region or ancestor. So only males can test because they have the Y chromosome, but a female can ask her father or another male relative to take the test for them. Okay, so now I'm going to move over. Do you see my web browser?
No.
Okay, so let me. Let's see here. Da-da-da. Now I think I see what happened with Denise last week. Here we go. Now do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. 23andMe,
It's a white screen.
of course. Let's see here. Let's stop sharing altogether. And now let me do it this way. How about that?
Yep.
Okay, 23. Okay, so the first DNA test that I did was with 23andMe, and I'm not really sure why I chose 23andMe. I was totally new to it, but I think I saw the commercial and I thought I'd go with 23andMe. And 23andMe, so before I get into that, all the test companies, you will send in a sample. So you'll order the test, register with them online, and then they will send you the test kit. You register the kit online, then you send it into them, and then your results are emailed back to you in your online account. So I went with 23andMe first, and 23andMe is typically considered the best at providing health-related information in addition to your ancestry, and it is pretty extensive. This is just looking at my account here. But when you open up your online account, you'll see over on the left, it has your ancestry, then health, then different traits, DNA relatives. So if you open up the Ancestry tab, link, takes you into your ancestry composition, and puts it right there, like the major breakdown of it. And then if you click, you can go into a more detailed view. So it gives you percentages and Northwest European, and it breaks it down farther to British, Irish, and so forth. So let's go back. And I don't really, I'm going to share the health reports. There's really nothing on there that I really think is that. Oops, sorry, clicked too many times. Um, so you open up and it presents various different health reports like your predisposition for conditions, your carrier status for various things, wellness and traits that you may have. 23andMe does a lot of health related research. So you will get periodic emails asking you to fill out questionnaires and surveys um, with health related questions. Um, and then also, you look here, they do provide a listing of people related to you through your DNA. And this is interesting because I hadn't looked at this for a long time, but now it's actually got like second cousins showing up. When I first tested, I mean, it would always be like fourth cousin or something. So, I mean, by the time you get to second cousin, you're actually getting a little bit more related. Um, so I might actually start looking into some of these at some point. One thing that I want to show you, and you can do this with all the testing companies. You can download your raw data file. Now it's going to be in different places on the different websites. Um, but up here where it says browse raw data, you click there. You can then, I don't really know enough about um, genetics to actually do a search to look for different chromosomes and stuff, but you can download your data file and then you can upload it to other companies to get your DNA analyzed. And I'll come back to that in a moment, but just so you know, I'm not going to actually download it now because it's going to start a process of downloading the file and stuff, but um, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Hey, David,
Yes.
someone asked the question, how many generations does 23andMe go back?
Well, I think it depends on the test that you purchase, is my understanding. I mean, um, I think autosomal goes back, it's either like 6 or 8, I believe, generations. Somebody correct me if that's wrong. I mean, um, now if you get a mitochondrial test or a Y-DNA test, which you can get through 23andMe, but I was going to talk about this in a minute. It'll go back thousands of years. I think it will actually try to trace back to like the original ancestor or ancestry group or that sort of thing. Does anybody else have any information on that?
The I've done a mitochondrial through family tree DNA, and it
Uh-huh.
does go back thousands of years.
Yeah.
And at least through family tree DNA, it will group you with the people who like the gene can mutate. So it
Mm-hmm.
will also tell you like who are close, who has the gene close to you that has mutated some.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, okay. So next, I wanted to look at ancestry, and this is my ancestry account. So I tested with ancestry um, next. That was the second test that I did. Um, and ancestry is a really great, it's a very solid company to test with because they have a huge database. I mean, last time I checked, it was over 15 million records that they had. So that's one definite benefit. The other thing I like about them is their presentation of the information. So if you pull up your DNA results summary, um, and then you click discover your, oops, trying to sell me stuff. Here we go. Um, discover your DNA story. I just they present the information to you. Um, over on the right, it has the ethnicity estimate. And if you click on the various breakdowns, it takes you into the region. It has information about it. Um, if you, also it even breaks down like the migration patterns in this country. Um, so it's I just like that presentation. Now, Ancestry would not allow me to upload my raw data. I had to purchase the other test. So that was one drawback to using Ancestry. But they also have another product called Through Lines, and basically it looks for common ancestors through your family tree, I guess with others. Now, one caveat with that is, it can be, depending upon the accuracy of other people's family tree. And I haven't really done much yet with Through Lines, but that it is, they do offer that on Ancestry as well. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, and also like 23andMe, they do offer the DNA matches. So moving over next, go to MyHeritage, which is a little, I think it's like maybe less popular than Ancestry and 23andMe. I think it's probably safe to say that. MyHeritage did allow me to upload my raw data file for free, and I don't think they charge, and I still don't think they charge to do that. So there's just under DNA, there's a link here where you click upload DNA. Maybe something happened. Let's see, upload DNA. Okay, and then it walks you through the process of uploading the file, and then in a day or two you get the results. Now, in terms of the ethnicity estimate, it's very, it's presented similarly to 23andMe or Ancestry, but I thought it was interesting. Mine was quite a bit different. The breakdown, and I've actually known a couple of other people who got different results. And one thing I've heard that MyHeritage has like a more like worldwide, like international database to compare, like reference groups to compare to. And I've also heard that it started as an Israeli company. So if you have Jewish ancestry, it may be worth looking into doing a test through MyHeritage as well. Let's see here. Okay. And then next up, we have family tree DNA. And family tree DNA allowed me to upload my raw data file, but I think it was like $19.95 was the charge when I did it. But again, let's see. It gives me, it's a little bit different display than the other two, but the terminology is different. But you'll see here, you see this one, like MyHeritage, had some of the Middle East origins as well. But the other thing that's really popular with family tree DNA is they offer the Y test and the mitochondrial test. Let's see, let's go away. Okay, so let's click on add-ons and upgrades. Okay, and see, they have lots of really extensive testing that you can add. I mean, you can spend quite a bit of money on genealogy DNA testing, So, here's the mitochondrial full sequence that you can purchase. Now, to do these, you'll have to actually purchase another kit. You can't just upload your raw data and then pay the fee. You'll have to do an actual kit. And
But just so you know, once you Family Tree DNA keeps your sample,
Mhm.
so once you do the kit once, you can then just buy different tests
Okay.
and use the same that they had before.
Okay, that's good to know. I've been recommended to do a Y-DNA test because I was talking to, we visited the SAR, Sons of the American Revolution Library in, I think that was in March. Seems like years ago, doesn't it, JP? But, I'm tracing back to an ancestor that I think is from Ireland. So it was recommended to me that through my father's line, this may be a good lead for me, because if someone in that region in Ireland had taken a Y-DNA, I mean, I may actually be able to make a connection there for that. But, it's varying degrees of complexity and detail that you can purchase for these tests. Okay, and then if you have British ancestry, I recently, much to my excitement, discovered a company called Living DNA. And so, like I said, it's really focuses on British ancestry largely. But I was able to upload my data to the company, and it was kind of funny because when I first did that, it gave me the results 100% European. Okay, that wasn't a big surprise. But then it said for $39.95, we'll break it down for you further. And so I couldn't resist. I had to do it. So I purchased it, and it does attempt to break down the various regions, of Great Britain and Ireland, of what your ancestry, is, ethnicity, or um, so. And I think that this was really worth it for me because I have a family tree brick wall. John Cox, born 1724, probably in Virginia. That's as far back as I can go. But then I was able to verify that it looks like I have ancestry from Northern England. So that may be able to give me some more information to possibly trace them back across the pond, as they say. So that was really an interesting thing to do. Um, so that is another company that may be of interest to Living DNA. Okay, and then finally, this is one, JedMatch. I've really not done very much with this at all, but JedMatch is an open source organization for genealogy research where you can upload your information. It's not tied in with, a private company where you pay a fee to do it. It's, that's kind of the thing you have to keep in mind. Your information is out there, and some of you may have heard about this recently in the news because they've been able to solve crimes and stuff because people had shared their DNA on JedMatch, and the police were able to identify people through that. I don't. Has anyone here used JedMatch? I haven't really done very much with it other than opening the account. Anyone else? Okay, Charity says she uses it a lot. I mean, if you have any tips or anything you think is great about it that you'd like to share, we'd like to hear it, or not.
Am I unmuted now? I was going to
Yeah.
type it, but it's going to be too long to type.
That's great.
A really good place to compare if someone has tested on Ancestry and someone else has tested on 23andMe or MyHeritage or wherever. Any of the tests can be uploaded to JedMatch. and then compare it across platforms.
Okay.
So my brother's results are only on FTDNA, and my mom's are only on Ancestry. But in JedMatch,
so.
I was able to compare all three of us. My test results are everywhere, but I was able to do some comparison. And since Ancestry doesn't do a chromosome browser, it's a way to get that information from the Ancestry test.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of people have concerns about privacy, I actually feel a little more comfortable with my my information being held by private companies because I think it would have to be subpoenaed. I think I feel like they would actually be more protective of my information. I mean, that's just something that commonly comes up, not necessarily related to your preference for JedMatch or anything, but that is just an issue that you hear people talk about. Let's see. And then let me unshare one more time because I did want to show you a few things that you might want to see here. There are some other resources you can consult. The Family Tree Guide to DNA Testing and Genetic Genealogy by Blaine Bettinger. If you really want to go into the real details about genetics and the tests and how they all work, that is a great book. Also, Blaine Bettinger has a website, thegeneticgenealogist.com, and CC Moore's Genetic Genealogy on Facebook is interesting. She posts a lot, so there's always interesting things to read on there. And these things are all on our Genealogy Club webpage, so don't feel the need to scribble them down immediately. Let's see. Those were my points. We have additional, like if people have questions, we can try to answer them as a group or any other, and it can also be other questions as well. We can.
I was going to share something about autosomal DNA testing. So I had a brick wall. I had posited through the paperwork that this particular ancestor was attached to a particular family, but I couldn't find any paper trail for that. And so one of the things to know about your DNA family tree is that it is a subset of your paper genealogy. Like everybody who's in your paper genealogy family tree won't be in your genetic family tree. So if you're using DNA to try to overcome one of your brick walls, test your cousins, test the people that you know you're genetically attached to, because they will be genetically attached to people that you are not. And I was able to use that to prove my original theory, because a cousin of my grandmother, who I was genetically attached to, was genetically attached to other people that I was not, and that sort of triangulation was what made me able to get over that wall.
Okay. Great.
I don't know, Jonna, was that you who said CC's new program has been postponed until the 26th?
Hi everybody, I got here late. Yes. The Genetic Detective, it airs on ABC at 10 o'clock on Tuesday nights. First show was supposed to be this week, but they've pushed it back to next week.
Okay. I've never seen it. Is that a new program?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I've not heard of that. That would be cool to watch.
So I think that sometimes people ask, what's the best one to start with? I mean, it kind of, you know, without like endorsing a product. I mean, I think a lot of people are satisfied if they use ancestry.com just to start with. So I don't know if other people have thoughts on that as well, but it's a pretty solid choice if you're looking to get started. Last week we started with one topic and we ended up on like using your phone to scan. We can talk, I mean, we can, all kinds of topics, interests that people have as well are fine. That's fine. So
I just wonder, I had a question. I just wondered, I'm not too private about information. I really believe in sharing it. But when you first started this and you were, you mean, you sort of touched on it, besides, getting, implicating all your criminal ancestors, what is that a more personal? Well, I guess I mean, it couldn't be more personal, but, what are the other, what do you all do do you all upload everything to be shared? Or, I mean, I know that's a broad generalization, but how can we think about this? I guess that's what I'm asking. Uh, if we're inclined to share anyway.
well, okay, so I've obviously, I mean, I've uploaded my information to all these companies so far, but like I said, I don't really feel like I don't, I'm not personally that concerned about it. Some people are, but you know, I think with JedMatch, it's really not so much I have a concern about privacy as much as I just haven't done it yet. I just haven't gotten around to learning my way around the website and what's involved. Um, I do know that some people I've talked to, they get really timid. I don't know if timid's the word, but they're very like guarded about the idea of taking one of these tests. And I don't know if it's because they're concerned about discoveries they may make. They feel like their information may be shared with, other people, other companies, that sort of thing. Um, so I think a lot of that depends on, your own comfort level, your background, your life experiences. Do you feel like a threatened person? I mean, what some of us have had different experiences in life than other people. So I think there's a lot of things that go into it.
David, did you touch on the fact that some people fear that insurance rates will go up because they will think you're predisposed to things?
I didn't go into that, but yes, I have heard other people bring that up. An interesting thing with me with 23andMe is I took the test and then a few months later I got an email asking me to participate in a study where I had to send in 10 samples and they gave me a gift card for like $100 or something. And then I did that like 2 or 3 more times. So it says I was randomly selected. That it wouldn't be connected to me at all. It's just a randomized study. So I mean, I was happy to take the gift cards, but but I will say it gives me a weird feeling sometimes though. If I log into 23andMe and then like the next day I get emails like Gmail about like some sort of pharmaceutical or something. You know what I mean? It does give you a little bit of a weird feeling, and it may not even be related to anything to me. But I'm like, oh, that's weird that now I'm getting these emails. So
David, Julie Brock had a question. I'm the only genealogist in my family. I did a DNA test, and my mom and son were interested. Presumably, each of their test results will be 50% shared with me, but 50% different from mine. Is my logic off base?
no, I think that's correct. Sometimes people expect like their sis, like I would expect my sister to be just like mine, but it's not like that. You know, it's kind of, a lot of it will be similar, I think, but there's just like a real random nature to it that surprises people sometimes.
The only person you would have 100% shared DNA with would be an identical twin.
Right.
Let me go in and see if I can find CC's green chart real quick, and I'll share that link with you.
Okay.
I had a friend who did DNA, and she found out her father wasn't her father, and several of her siblings were not related. And she said she wished she hadn't done it. She says, and she's an, she's a senior citizen, and
Yeah.
did try to reach out to somebody who was even older than she was, who was a cousin, and he didn't want to have anything to do with this. But she's hoping that her son will connect with some younger members of this unknown branch, and then you have my aunt who sawed off a whole branch of the family tree because my cousin Larry got married 3 times,
Yeah.
and he's gone from the tree, our tree.
I mean, I think that's now why they tell people definitely expect, you know, it may not be, I mean, that's pretty shocking, you know, that would be devastating, I think, to find out something like that. But definitely expect some surprises. I mean, my friend, he's trying to find his father. He found out he was actually he found out he was adopted. I mean, it's very possible now that if he took one of these tests, he could figure it out. You know, maybe not, but there's a strong possibility that he could.
I always find it funny that people are so concerned about their personal information being out on these websites when 9 times out of 10, all your personal information is out anyway. So live it up a little.
Yeah. You know, I think what John has said about the insurance, though, there is something to that because the insurance companies, they're usually very agreeable to approve like genetic testing, like under your insurance and stuff. I think they're interested in this kind of information. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily to use it against you, but I mean, they probably see a benefit to collecting that. I try not to be a conspiracy theorist too much. Oh, there, John has shared the CC Moore green chart.
Going back to the conspiracy theories, we're so concerned about Bill Gates injecting a chip into them through a vaccine when they don't realize that the phone they're carrying in their pockets has everything anybody wants to know about them.
Yeah, I mean it's such a business now to collect information and sell it and market things to us. That's why we get creeped out when, I mean, you know, like on our Facebook, these products just pop up that you were like, I didn't even think I searched for them. I think I was just thinking about and then it shows up in my Facebook feed. Here, you can buy this here. It's really bizarre now.
My daughter texted me a product that she had looked at, and the next thing I knew, it showed up in my ads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing is private anymore.
There is a setting in Facebook that you can turn off so that it does not allow them to see your entire browsing history, but I had to dig to find it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
And I always keep all of that off anyway, and it was a new setting, and they don't tell you they've added anything, so somebody has to discover it and say, hey, they did this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, information is out there.
Yeah, definitely.
And now after this conversation, X-Files is on Hulu if you want to go down that rabbit hole.
I'm posting
David Furs.
David froze. I'm changing topics from conspiracy theories. Dick Eastman is an aggregator. He pulls together various hot topics in genealogy, and that's a link to his blog as well.
Okay.
He's a good person to follow.
Okay. I'll put that up on the webpage too.
Is his blog still going on, even though his website's merged lately? I got the feeling he was wanting to retire. It's merged with something I ran into in genealogy. I forget what it was now.
I'm still getting daily posts from it.
Good. So he can't just push away from it. He's still hooked. Good for us.
I don't know if he's actually writing it or if somebody else is writing under his name.
Oh, so here's where another book, Inheritance, a Memoir, Genealogy, Paternity, and Love by Danny Shapiro. That was a book recommendation from Julie. Thank you. Okay. Great. This is a fun topic, and you can really. Oh, I know what I was gonna mention. You know, there's often like webinars and through your genealogical societies and stuff, you can often find topics presented related to this. Like Kentucky Historical Society, I mean, obviously not right now, but they have a regular, I think it meets quarterly, DNA roundtable discussion where people come in and they, they'll have a different topic each session, but then people can ask their questions and that sort of thing. And I attended that one time, and that was quite interesting. And there are a couple of speakers that live in the Lexington, Louisville area, like Deborah Renard, and I'm blanking on the other person. Maybe she's in something.
Capisano.
Okay, yeah, and they'll present regularly. And yeah, so there's lots of information out there on this. I think I mentioned last time, starting in June, we're going to go to once a month Genealogy Club session. So it'll be the last Saturday of each month, starting in June. And it'll be a similar format to this. Well, thanks everyone for coming. If no one has any more questions, I mean, I think this was fun. I hope you had fun today. It's a topic that interests me. And okay, thanks for coming. Oh, and as always, feel free to send us emails. We'll look for answers for you. And thanks, Charity. Charity's a librarian in South Carolina, and we've been like attending each other's online sessions like the whole time. She helped me. She introduced me to living DNA. So that's fun.
That session that you attended, David, is now up on our YouTube page.
Oh, right. Yeah, we should put that on our page. Yeah, it was really good.
I'll grab the link.
Okay.
Didn't think about that.
I think I have it actually. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you next time. What's our topic next week? Does anybody know?
Is next week Kentucky Gen Web?
Yes, I think it is. I think it is. We'll go with that.
Well, US Gen Web, but yeah.
Okay, well, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Bye.